What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Warehouse Series. So today I'm going to be actually revealing where I work at. The reason why I've been keeping this a secret is because I take pictures on the floor, I take video on the floor. Well, after a couple comments on Discord, I came to realize, like, what else could I possibly do? I have well over 200 videos of constructing pallets. So if you're new to the channel, please navigate my playlist. And what's the benefits actually of still subscribing to my channel is that if you come and join Discord Friday, or Discord, which is in the description below, you're going to get access to hundreds of people that work around the world in warehousing that are going to help you out. And if you post your pictures over there, they're going to be on future Fridays. Not only that, if you post a lot of pictures because you're struggling in the warehouse, I will do a video just for you. So there is still benefits to subscribing to my channel. I highly recommend it, and I appreciate it. If you guys want to join Discord, link in the description below, give me a thumbs up. And guys, I make pennies on this channel. So if I put thousands of hours into this channel, so if you want to help me by donating whatever you possibly can to Venmo at Timotes93, it is much appreciated. So let's get to the first picture. All right, so the first picture I want to show is, I posted this on Discord. This is actually my order. I started working overtime again. Guys, I have not thrown product in probably about 5 months. On my shift, I have worked enough where I have built up my seniority and I don't have to worry about selecting. The only time I select is on overtime. So I selected this on a pre-shift. And I said to the people over on Discord, what would you do? Stack your water on top or use it for a second base? So some people said I would use it for a second base because in our warehouse, we get paper towels afterwards. Well, I can tell you right now, if I had light product come afterwards, I would definitely use this as a second base. But my thing is as you can see back here, I got Gatorades and I got boxed juices and stuff like that. So I got weight. When you stack weight on a base like this, it shifts around big time. So the chances of your pallet falling over are pretty freaking good. So my theory is if I'm throwing 25 cases anyhow, I'm throwing them up here and getting them out of the way. Also, if you want to throw them up here and get them out of the way like I did, I call them stack them. So if I'm selecting on this side of the aisle over here, I stacked this whole entire column first. You want to go the furthest away from you. Because if I would have stacked this column first, I would have had to walk around my pallet 100 times just to get this side built over here. So always build this furthest away from you. If you're a taller selector, you can get away with this. Shorter selector, you might have to walk around your pallet. Stack this whole column, stack this whole column. I did one column at a time until I was done. And then I wrapped the pallet because it was a little shaky and I was using a jack that was very jerky. It would coast a second, then it would just stop. So it would shift my product around. So I made sure that the top of the pallet was secure and I didn't have to worry about it. So that's the first picture I wanted to go over. Second picture is also my work. So in this one right here, I just wanted to show my work. Since I have not shown pictures of my work in a while, I will still snap pictures whenever I can with my work. I get a single water. If you work in my warehouse and you get a single water, I throw it on the back pallet. I throw it up in the middle of my pallet at a later time all the time. I always use that for a middle case because it's nice and skinny. And if you watch my cross and tee video, I like nice skinny cases following the line of the cross. And as you can see right here, this LaCroix is not upside down. This is actually 2 Arizona teas. And what happens is what I do is when I get 2 Arizona teas, people previously like to take the LaCroix and separate them. They like to stack them in the middle of their pallet. Maybe they got a hole they need to fill in, so they double stack them on top. And they take the bottom of the box and just toss it to the side. So when you come down to the aisle with the LaCroix, you can see 10, 12, 15 of these lids, or bottoms rather, just laying all over the place. Well, I pick them up and I put them on top of these Arizona teas to tie them in. That way I know I don't have to worry about these cases sliding off. So if you're in my warehouse or you're in a warehouse similar that does this stuff, take these tops and put them on your corners. I don't care about the middle of my pallet as much as the corners. When I see I have 2 of these cases on the corner, just put a case or put the empty box on top to make sure it stays in place. But other than that, this is my work, and we will get on to the next one. All right, so someone posted this, and I wanted to just go over this. So I always say, I tell my trainees the same way, on the front of the pallet and on the back of the pallet. If you have one case that is by itself, like there's nothing similar to it, face it in. If you have 2 cases, face them back. So if I had 3 cases the same, I would do this. I would put 1, 2, 3 on the back of my pallet. Why the back of my pallet? Because I always say that you should have a stronger back than a stronger front. I put my light cases towards the front of the pallet. I put my heavier cases towards the back, because when you hit your throttle on the jack, your jack is constantly shifting backwards. If I have a strong back, I'm good to go. All right, so I want a little bit of a weaker front and a stronger back. So I would have took these 3 cases that look identical, and I would have stacked them like this across the back of my pallet. 1, 2, 3, and then so we got even more. It looks like we have these here. So this big case here, I would have actually faced that towards, maybe not, because you have plastic pallets. So first, I'm going to say, if you have to use plastic, then you got to use that. If you can use wood, use wood. But the big case, long ways, is probably going to work out better. I like your 2 cases right here with this case in the middle. So all what I would have done is 3 cases across the back. And I think you would have a lot stronger pallet. So remember, if you have 1 case that stands alone, I face them inwards. If I have multiples, and then I will change the direction, start facing them towards the middle of the pallet, this direction. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. All right, this pallet here, guys, I have the same product on our side of the warehouse. Almost had to look real quick. I mean, literally, we have the same product. This is where the part of the dry goods warehouse you can get away with column stacking. But even though they are column stacking, what are they doing? They're keeping their bigger cases on the outside, smaller cases on the middle, bigger cases on the outside. Cases pointing in with that middle column is how you get away with column stacking. When you get 2 of the same case, keep them together. 2 of the same case, 2 similar to the same cases. It doesn't have to be the exact same, as long as they're similar in height. I love how they did this. I would build this the exact same way. That's why I put it on here. All right, guys, this next pallet, just absolutely beautifully done. There is nothing on here that I would change. I actually think you said, what would you do differently on Discord? I don't know who posted this, but I think you said, what would you do differently? I would do absolutely 0 differently. And I mean, it's just everything on here is just perfectly done. I don't even know what to say. It's perfect. All right. It's absolutely perfect. That's what I would do. Absolutely nothing. Keep doing what you're doing. You're building fantastic pallets. All right, so this next picture I was looking at, and I'm like, how the heck did this shift so much? So my theory is either they were driving backwards and they hit the down button and this whole entire pallet shifted, or they just built back off of their wood like this. I think it shifted. I think they backed up and they hit their down button and they thought they were being nice and quick and slick. And when they hit their down button coming backwards, the whole entire pallet shifted. But even if you would knock all of this back up to where it should be, these strawberries back here would still be hanging off the pallet. Guys, I tell you all the time, yeah, because even if we knock this up 2 inches, 2 inches, 4 inches, whatever, maybe it wasn't. So this honestly could be a result of just hitting their down button really quick as they were backing up the stage to product. So it's just it was probably a really decent build pallet. But look, they got the big case in the middle going this direction. I don't agree with it. It's possible that their strawberries were hanging off the back. And I also want to say this for strawberries. Sometimes you'll see a whole pallet like waved to one side. So the strawberries will be like waved to one side. If you pick up 4 at a time, because you're selecting them, and then maybe you need 20, you're picking up 4 at a time, and that wave is like this, point that wave towards the inside of your pallet. So it is, always remember, you want to lean everything towards the middle of your pallet. You don't want nothing leaning outwards. I don't know if that's what also caused this, but I know strawberry pallets come on a lean. If you throw in the produce, you know what I'm talking about. But other than that, I wouldn't put this pallet like this. And I think this is just a matter of someone thinking they were cute and they hurried up and backed it in and hit the down button and to try to be quick, and they shifted the whole pallet. So I think that's all that is. All right, guys, this pallet right here, another beautifully built pallet. We got some freezer pallets coming up here. Just perfect, honestly. And I don't mind the slip sheets, and you guys want to use slip sheets, use them. All right, I'm an old school type of person. Whenever I got trained 25 years ago, we were not trained to use slip sheets. So, and it's so funny because if you look at my warehouse, everybody from my generation, everybody that's been there as long as me or a little bit, like even 20 years and over, we use 0 slip sheets. But if you look at all the newer selectors, they all use slip sheets. So it's just, I think it's just a generation thing. So it's not that I hate on people using slip sheets. It's just that I was taught not to use slip sheets and not to use breaker pallets. So I think that's all it is. And I need to start coming to my senses that slip sheets are not a bad thing, as long as you're not wasting time looking for them. But we got a very nice frozen pallet here, just very nicely done. Guys, this New York right here, this is just a little bit lower than the Hungry Man. And I am so critical like that. And I tell my trainees that if I would have put this case here and the Hungry Man on the inside, I would have swapped them around. That low on the pallet, I don't care if it's a hair off. I am switching those cases around. I want my higher corner, my lower inside. Now, if I was up here, I wouldn't care. But down this low on the pallet, I care. I want my higher corners, my lower inside. I think they are so crucial. Pointing cases towards the middle of this pallet. I told you, the middle of this pallet is the strongest point. We want these big cases pointing in. Just a beautifully constructed pallet. Very well done. All right, so this pallet here, another freezer pallet, and very, 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 very good. Very beautifully executed. There is only one thing that I would do different on here. One thing, and one thing only, and that is this case right here. I would flip it around. So all what I want to tell you to you new selectors is if you select a case that is crushed on one side and flat and nice and strong on the other, put that crushed side towards the inside of the pallet, put the nice strong side on the outside of the pallet. Other than that, this pallet is perfectly built. If you build in the freezer, please look at this. Just turn that case. All right, guys, this picture here has got a lot going on. It's not a bad pallet. We kept nice and square. We obviously backed under some stuff over here, it looks like, because it looks like all the same cases. Now, this front pallet, we got cases on their sides, which guys tell me in the freezer they're like bricks. You don't have to worry about it. Well, this is what I hate, putting cases on their sides, because when you put the tape sides facing out, you're going to get this buckling. If these cases were upright, you would not have the buckling. So this is when I hate cases on their side. It even looks like this case is ready to start buckling. So even though this is frozen, it could still compromise the whole form of this pallet. So if these bust open and the contents start pushing itself out, even if it's wrapped, if they buckle open, I mean, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of weight on these bottom cases, and you lose it, the whole pallet's going to fall over. This is why I don't like tape sides out. And the other thing I want to do, we got a big box in the middle here. You know, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not going to, I just like to point that stuff out. I like to point cases towards the middle of the pallet. Now, this back pallet here, I like these two cases here, and then we get that concept going. I got to go like this. I got to go like this. I got to go like this, because we do it here. We do this. There's no reason to bring this case in here. And then we do this, and then we go this way, and then we go this way. Guys, I get that that's tying in, but it's not your only form. What would I have done differently? I like these cases here. I would have stacked these cases upright. I would have put this case on the middle because it's lower. I would have dropped this case straight down. They would have been both facing this direction. And I would have kept stacking. I always stack the same direction until I play catch up, until I get cases to meet up with my corner, and then I tie it in. This is not level, so I would not have ever tied this in. I would have looked at trying to catch up my middle, my inside to match up my corner, then I would have tied it in. So not bad. You could tell you know what you're doing. You're building really well. Just the cases on their sides on the bottom looks like they're gonna burst. In this back corner, you don't have to do this to tie in. You could still go the same direction and tie in as well. But from what I could see right here, it's not bad. You're nice and square. And plus you're on white wood back here. You use blue wood on the front. So this is most definitely all the same product. It looks like you backed under 5 layers. So hopefully you made some time on this order, but yeah, it's not bad. All right, guys, and I also want to say that I have mad respect for people that work in the freezer. I could not do this. I would not work in the freezer. if I ever lost my job at my place, I would never apply for a freezer job. So for you guys that work in the freezer, I have a lot of respect for you. All right, guys. So now for where do I work at? Well, I've been wearing my Teamster Local 636 shirt, and I'm going to give you guys what I work at. So a lot of people have already pinpointed where I am from. And it's so funny because when you're from a certain area, you don't think that you have an accent. Well, I've been called out on my Pittsburgh accent like crazy. I live in the Pittsburgh area and I work for Giant Eagle. All right. So Giant Eagle is the name of the company that I work for. We have over 200 stores, and my job is actually OK Grocery, which is actually the first Giant Eagle store that opened up was called OK Grocery. I didn't know that. So OK Grocery, this is our dry goods building, and this is our perishable building. Now, Giant Eagle owns multiple warehouses, but for our union, we're only allowed to work in these two buildings right here. So right now, I'd spend probably 95% of my time at the perishable building, and right now I am at the dry goods building. So that's where I work. I started in June of 1998, right out of high school. I was going to go to college to play ice hockey for Robert Morris in Pittsburgh, and I blew out my knees my senior year, and I said, to heck with it. I was going to college for the wrong reasons. So I had someone say, you want to come work at OK Grocery? And the rest is history. I've been there ever since. So in June of this year, 2023, I will have 25 years in. So that is where I work, guys. I work at Giant Eagle in the Pittsburgh area. We're in Pittsburgh. We're in Ohio. We have a few market districts. We have market districts as well. We have a few market districts in, I believe, Indiana rather. And we have a couple stores in Maryland. And I think that's about it. I'm not sure we're anywhere else, but we're compared to other people, we are a very small company. We only have a few hundred stores, a little over a few hundred stores. Now, our biggest thing is geckos. We have a lot of gecko gas stations, and that keeps the stores thriving as well. So our geckos, and we are a local 636 based out of McKees Rocks, PA. And I am in that union. So that's where I work, guys. Like I said, the reason why I'm telling you guys this now is because I don't plan on making any more videos in the warehouse. So it's just what my channel is what it is. And if you guys are in the Pittsburgh area and you want to come work at a Giant Eagle, OK Grocery, you might get me as a trainer. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.